And so as we get into the installation of the Romeo 1 Pro onto my SIG P226. First thing I'm going to say is, interestingly, I do need a T20 star bit here to actually remove the cover on my slide. Yet when I get into the hardware for the mounting of the Romeo 1 Pro, I then need to switch to a T15. So that will be the place we start. The next thing I'm going to say is, when I go to actually install the sight, SIG is suggesting I will need around 30 inch-pounds to actually get it mounted the right way. So here, yep, that's going to come loose. You can feel there was likely a little bit of Loctite in here, making sure I'm careful not to strip anything. That feels nice. And now getting these, I will set them aside, label them accordingly, and put them in storage. Now, just to verify, you can see everything here is clear. I don't feel as though I truly need to remove the slide at this point. I guess we'll see. But this should pretty much just come right off of here. Which, no problem, that literally just pops right off. And you can see here, there was actually a little bit of oil under there, which I like. I will re-lubricate just because I will have, I'm actually going to put the steel shroud. We're going to put the steel shroud right in there. Should help with the overall fit, I believe. That looks like it's going to fit very tight front to back, which is awesome. So I am kind of changing my mind a little bit, and I'm curious, what kind of co-witness do I get here? And again, this fit is super snug, and I get zero co-witness whatsoever. So there is absolutely no way my iron sights will see over the back, which is a shame. However, if I'm careful, I should be able to learn how to shoot leveraging the cutout in the actual optic with my front sight. And if I was really smart, I would drift this out and give myself a nice suppressor height sight, drift that out and do the same. But that's for another day. Drop of lubrication here, just going to avoid the holes and making sure I get that nicely coated just to prevent anything that might happen. A little bit of rub on the Cerakote will realistically likely happen, but that's going to be just fine right there. Doesn't need much at all. Same with the bottom of the housing. Just a little bit here. Sliding this carefully together. And again, this will go nicely right on top. That's definitely a snug fit. You got to pay a little bit close attention to make sure everything lines up, but looks to go fairly straightforward. And then at this point, I'm actually going to introduce just a little bit of fresh blue Loctite. This does have some on it, but I'm going to put a little drop inside just to add a little bit more. Which this is one of those a little goes a long way type of things. So don't go too crazy. And again, I do now need to swap out for the T15. And starting the threads here, I'm just going to take my time, make sure everything goes down nice and easy. And then I'm going to get my torque wrench and go to 30 inch-pounds. This is almost what I would consider to be like loosely finger tight, but that seems pretty good. Going to the torque wrench. Now, I do personally really like the torque wrench, and I like the digital torque wrench because it's extremely easy. I will alternate right hand and left hand side just to try to get things snug from right to left and left to right. That's about 20 already, and I can feel still has a little ways to go. coming up here. That right there is 20. $30 does seem like it's going to be quite a bit. That's 27. There's 30. And there's 30. And so one thing that's a little bit funny when you look at this, but it totally makes sense. They are saying to tighten the battery cap to around 10 to 12 inch-pounds. Now, that might be a little bit overkill, but, you know, to me, I'm like, well, kind of like things just to be right. So I'm going to run it to 12 real quick. But you'd be surprised, actually, thinking this needs 12 inch-pounds. This thing's moving a lot after I thought it was initially closed. I mean, I'm not even at 10 yet. There's 10, 11, and there's 12. So, I mean, that battery cover had a long way to go, and that's to make sure that under recoil, that doesn't loosen up on you and stop making contact and create a failure in your optic. So, you know, to me, better to follow the instructions and try and do it the right way. It just takes a second, and there's something to be said for everything being torqued up to the appropriate values. But with that, that's the mounting process. All I really need to do at this point is let that Loctite cure before I start shooting.